All right, 24 hours since Oregon versus Ohio State. I personally went to the game, got to watch it, got to see everything in person. So let's talk about it. Ducks pulled out with 1 point. I went by myself. I am an Ohio State fan. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna try to keep my bias out of this. We found out that both these teams are legit contenders. We could potentially see this as a Big Ten championship rematch, and for me, I hope to see that. But we found out that Ducks are legit. I think we did know that though after that outstanding game comeback against Boise. Didn't look too clean, but pulled it out. Just a heartbreaker for Ohio State here. Dan Lanning pulling off another pretty good win. Ryan Day losing another big game, which is starting to raise concerns, but we're going to see throughout the season if we're able to reel it in and what Ohio State can make out of this season, because coming in, it seems like everybody had this idea about this defense, which myself included. It was this fabled Ohio State defense. Ohio State can't get scored on. Ohio State's all that, but come to find out, this team's led up 30 points and more than 30 points in one of the biggest games of the year. Didn't look smooth at all. And then we need to have the conversation about Denzel Burke. Denzel Burke potentially was basically the reason, not even potentially, he was the reason that Ohio State pretty much lost this game, because Oregon was doing whatever they wanted on him. Oregon was having their way with Denzel Burke. He was just the soft spot in the defense. If Denzel Burke was matched up against anybody, that was where Dylan Gabriel was going, and Dylan was hitting those throws. Dylan looked real good yesterday, and he was hitting those throws. He was doing what he needed to do, executing, avoided turnovers after that 2-turnover game against Michigan State. But Dylan Gabriel looked solid, and Oregon's going to be a pretty good team this year. Not even a pretty good team. They're going to be a very good team this year. But for the Buckeyes, this game all over is just red flags, because we go from this team only scoring 35 against a pretty weak Iowa team, but they ended up shutting them out while starters were in. But now we go to this next week where, okay, we have to play a legit team, and our defense, the Ohio State defense, just completely falls apart, and that's going to raise a lot of concerns. But we did find out that Ohio State is a legit team. Ohio State is going to be able to compete with those top teams, which was a concern for some people coming in only playing bottom feeder teams like Akron or, teams like that caliber. But we did find out that Ohio State's going to be in the mix. Pretty decent team, but not living up to the hype that they had at the start of the season. And looking back on it with Denzel Burke again, it's even more crazy to me, because this guy came into this season saying it was natty or bust, and then goes out and plays like that, and that's just very concerning for this team. But we'll see what the Buckeyes end up doing. Got Nebraska coming up for their next game, and then quick turnaround to Penn State, and that's really going to put them to the test. Nebraska losing a couple games, but look solid for a bit. Dylan Raiola on the come up. Drew Aller is looking solid, better than previous years when he started the season. He's looking smooth, so that'll be a tough matchup for the Buckeyes, which I believe they will be facing Penn State away, which, again, playing Penn State away is a huge disadvantage for the Buckeyes, but we were able to see that this offense can execute in hostile environments after visiting Autzen and still being able to put up 31 points, which is fantastic, but ultimately the defense was the downfall for the Buckeyes this past weekend.